Thank you for joining us today for Armchair Historians. I'm your host, Anne-Marie Cannon. Armchair Historians is a Belgian Rabbit production. Stay up to date with us through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Wherever you listen to your podcast, that is where you'll find us. You can also find us at armchairhistorians.com. Also, won't you consider becoming a patron of the show? In an effort to keep Armchair Historians commercial-free, I have decided to work with Patreon. Now, if you mosey on over to www.patreon.com/armchairhistorians, that's historians with an S, you can find out more about supporting the show and about exclusive patron content that you will have access to. You can chip in anywhere from $1 to $15 a month or just make a one-time donation. You will be helping me to keep the lights on. And if you can't make a donation, that's totally cool. I just hope you will continue to listen to our free podcasts. Our guest this week is podcaster, writer, and New Yorker forever, Anik Gee. Her podcast, The Chillary, is a place to chill and talk about adulting, which, according to Anik, is like folding a fitted sheet, and nobody talks anymore. We post, we tweet, we text. Come pull up with me, one adult to another, as we explore, review, analyze, and just simply chat about all things adult. This is part 2 of my interview with Anik Gee, an interview which started out as a conversation about Madam C.J. Walker and the Netflix series made about her, Self-Made, starring Octavia Spencer. But like all really good conversations, we let it take us where we needed to go. But
yeah, that's close.
It's close, and I do have, like my great nephew now, his mom set it up so through Facebook he can call certain people, he can FaceTime certain people.
Yeah, they have that for the kids now to do.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm.
So sometimes he'll call me, which is fun because I get to see him a lot more than I otherwise would. So,
that's good.
Yeah. Did you have any questions for me? I forgot to ask you that in the beginning.
No, I don't think
podcast.
we got off. No,
What?
we got into talking, and no, I didn't have any questions.
I had a feeling that you were going to be like this with you.
Yeah, I come from a big family. We talk all the time. This is why they were like, you should do a podcast. You know, it was my family that gave me the idea, so I kind of went with it. I was like,
I hope you continue. I hope, and I think the biggest thing that I'm learning is that just slow and steady wins the race. Being persistent and being, can't think of the word, but just being consistent. You know, if you're going to do a bi-weekly podcast and always drop your podcast at the same time or the same day. I'm not so good at
consistent with it. Yeah.
And you don't get the payoff until the long run, right? You don't really get the payoff. But
so don't even think about the payoff. Just think about small goals. Like my goal this month is to make sure I drop at this time every single time. That's my goal for this month. And then once I get that goal, my next goal could be now I want, so.
Yeah, I think just small bits and pieces. And a lot of people have started podcasts, which I think is great. I don't think all of them will succeed because I don't think that everybody will be able to maintain that.
Yeah. Because it is work. It is work.
It is work. It is work. And I think I need to make it into little chunks of time. Little goals. I do, instead of oh my God, look at the big picture. Because that's where I start having problems. I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to, post something on all the social medias 5 times a day or whatever.
Yes. And next thing you know, you're overwhelmed. And then I want to go lay down in my bed because I'm like, all right, today I worked too hard.
This is too much, yeah. Well, I'm rooting for you. I'm really rooting for you. I think that you have a lot to say and, everything. You have the sound. One of the things I wanted to tell you that I loved about your podcast, and I hope you keep doing this, is every time there was something new, like a new segment you decided you wanted to do. You'd have some kind of like, you'd say something, you'd be having a conversation, and then you'd make some kind of introduction with music or a sound. I don't know what you call that. I'm sure there's some
Yeah,
kind of professional name
it's like
for
a
it.
little transition sound. Yeah, I did that on
Yes.
my own. My brothers was like, "Oh my god, dude, why?"
I
But then
love it.
they end up loving it because during the podcast it made them feel less awkward. Because if I just simply say, "Okay, now we're gonna talk about this," they're like, "Okay," like it's such a natural switch. So in order to be like more to make it more natural when you're switching, I was like, let me
I'm
add a sound and
doing
get
that.
you
I think it
excited
works.
about it.
And I think it
Yeah.
reminds me of, and I can't think of anything offhand, but there's certain uh, podcasts that I listen to, and they have these moments, and then there's this sound, and it's always associated with the particular thing. And
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
you grow to like look forward to those. It's like, oh my God, this is gonna
Like
happen.
what's coming at yeah. It's like, yay, now we're about to do this. Like you revert to being a preschooler again when they sing and dance every transition into anything and then
Right,
preschoolers get excited. So it works.
right. So I think that's brilliant. I love that, and I hope you keep, developing that part of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um,
I'm
was there
excited. I
anything was there anything else about Madam C.J. Walker or that particular history that you wanted to Booker? It was a Booker T. Washington. See, I just thought of it.
Booker T. Washington is the that he did something totally different.
Oh, he wasn't that character in the.
Was he the character? Was it Booker
I gotta
T?
look. Give me a
It was
second.
a few names that I was like, oh, okay, I didn't even know. Was it Booker T? I'm trying to think. It was the person that was the basically the guy who she was trying to get to endorse her, right?
Right, right.
I can't
Um,
remember if it was him or not. Because I remember thinking to myself, oh, let me fact check that. Did he really, do that? Is that really how it happened? Especially when he like roughed house her in the back.
Blair
If he like,
Underwood.
don't you ever stand on it? I'm like, no, he didn't really do that.
Which part was that?
When he had like when she walked to the back and he got her in the back and was like, don't you ever do that
I
again,
don't
and
think it
kind of,
happened
and
that
I'm
way.
like,
I
I don't
think
think that happened that way.
he was a lot more diplomatic about it from
I
what I
feel
could see.
like
He just
too.
didn't endorse her. He just didn't do it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. And then sometimes your path is not always someone else's path, and it's hard for people to share that with each other to get people on board with each other. He probably just felt like you're just not in the same path that I'm trying to go on. Not that what you're doing isn't great, it's just not the path that I'm trying to join. That's how I
right.
looked at it. It's not like, oh man, I can't believe he wouldn't support her. It was like, no, he just had different visions, and although he's not saying it was anything wrong with hers, it just didn't match his, and he was for himself and she was for herself.
Well, and I think about Obama. By the way, I just watched Becoming. Did you watch that documentary about
No, I didn't. I
Michelle Obama?
Yeah, I didn't see
If
it.
you
I
need
gotta
to
see
pick
it.
me up, watch that. And it's
Okay.
been in my queue for a very long time, and there's
Okay.
something inside of me that I couldn't let myself watch it, and I couldn't figure it out. But
Uh-huh.
when I started watching it, like I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. And
Oh man.
from the very beginning, it was like, oh my God, it was that pining, like, and then there was this realization, like, America did this. America saw
Yeah.
this man's vision, and Michelle Obama was a big part of who Barack Obama was. But there was this
Mhm.
moment of like almost a opening of the door of hope, which I've really shut the door on after
Okay. Yeah.
2016.
Yeah.
And I cried through the whole thing, but it was that thing. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
this is what I support. What she's doing is what I
Yeah.
support. And the one thing she did talk about is once they got into the White House, she was like, "Oh, I thought everything was going to be great in America." And what she found out is that there's still so much racism in the world.
Yeah.
But, one of the
And
things,
so much work to do.
right? And one of the things I thought that stuck with me about the Obama presidency is that he really stayed away from talking about LGBTQ
Mm-hmm.
community or anything like that. And I was a little disappointed in that because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted him to, and we're talking about
Talk
this other
more.
character. I think it was Booker T. Washington. I'll figure it out by the time I
Mm-hmm.
put this out. But you know, and he was taking up the cause of the black man. And maybe it was too much for him to go the distance and take up the cause of women because that was a whole other struggle.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't, I didn't think about that until what you just said. And with
Mm-hmm.
Obama, he didn't really take up that cause, but through his presidency, I saw my daughter get the right to be able to marry the woman that she loved.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to pick your battles and what you're going to put out there in the forefront is your battle,
It's
but
it's
behind the
kind of like,
scenes,
yeah. It's kind of like your projects, right? You can't do like multiple ones at once, and you take one and you focus on that one, and you to make that one grow, you got to put your energy into that before you can like go to the next one. So same thing, he had to pick which battle he wanted to tackle first because it's so much
right?
even
And to
after
align
tackle those
himself
two.
with the women's movement would have,
Mm-hmm.
he probably thought that he would have, and it's probably true, he would have lost more supporters to what he was doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or people would be confused because they're like, okay, yeah, we get this, but it's tough. And I'm pretty sure it was probably tough for him to be in that position to decide as well.
Right, right. Yeah, that was interesting. There's a lot of
Mm,
nuance too. I like to villainize people or make them heroes. It's easier to think about things that way, but there's a
yeah,
lot of, yeah,
yeah.
nuance, I think. And we
Hmm.
need to shine, I think, the light on the nuance because I think that's where we can really change sort of. But
Yeah,
anyways, becoming, put it in
I'm
your
gonna do it.
queue.
Yeah, I might have to go watch that.
It just, I
I,
can't even tell you, but I think the biggest thing for me was like, it gave me hope again because I thought, you know what? There were enough people in the United States to make this happen.
yeah,
And we
yeah.
see
And
all the
we can
bad
do it
things.
again.
Yeah, we see all the bad things that are going on right now. And I don't think we'll ever, I don't know, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think we'll ever see as great of a president as Obama again in our
I,
lifetime.
I think people are really discouraged now, and everyone's just kind of like got their hands thrown up to the situation. And it's like, we don't like any of the candidates, so we're just not going to do anything. But doing anything doesn't change nothing. It just keeps things the same as well. So that's not a solution. And it makes me feel like we shouldn't give up because back in those days, we didn't give up. It was like we fought and we made that happen. Just like you
And it
said,
was so
we
much
did it.
worse back then.
Yeah. Yeah. It was way worse back then. I don't know. I'm always optimistic. I feel like things will
Okay.
get
I'm going to
better.
latch on to that. I'm going to latch on to your optimism because I'm
And I
not, we're
always
talking
tell
about,
people, get off the news. Don't watch the news. The news will make you feel like everything is terrible, terrible because they're only televising the bad and sensationalizing, and there's tons of good happening. So
yeah,
get off the news.
there's, it's hard though right now because there is tons of
It
bad
is
and
hard. It is.
yeah. But you're right. And that's what watching that or reading the book, I didn't read the book, but watching that documentary Becoming about Michelle Obama, it reinvigorated my sense of hope in
Yeah.
people.
Hmm. There's good people out
There are, and
there.
Michelle, she's another strong
She's
woman, and
amazing. I
she's
love
really
her.
using her platform to. One of the things they do in the documentary, I'm giving it all away, but they follow a couple of young girls who are,
Mm.
they're in high school, I think. They're graduating from high school and just kind of follow them and show you what their life is like. And then she talks to them and you can just see the impact that she
That
has
she
on them.
has. Yeah, she's a great role model. I got a big poster of Michelle. I have two of her books. I love her.
Yeah, she's my favorite.
Hmm.
Anyways, we digress. But I did want to ask you because I want to start a new segment, but I don't know that I'm gonna. Maybe I'll borrow your
Sorry.
idea. So I want to know
Uh-huh.
because like I said, I think we should support each other as podcasters. And your
Yeah.
podcast, the Chillary, is amazing, and I'll talk about that in the
Thank you.
beginning in your
Mhm.
introduction. So I know your podcast is your favorite podcast, but since we're already,
Who's my favorite podcast?
what's your favorite podcast right now? What are you listening to?
Right now, I don't really listen to, I mean, like, I feel like I scroll through the podcast and I just kind of like listen to people, but I don't have no one that I've been like religiously listening to. However, my partner listens to this podcast every day, and I think not by choice, I'm listening to it too because he listens to it out loud. So I think that's the only one that I hear. It's like Barstool Sport. Is it Barstool Sports, honey? What is the name of the podcast that you listen to? Oh, now he went back in.
I listened to the Kirk Minihane show.
I'm sorry, Kirk Minihane show
On Barstool Sports.
On Barstool Sports, yes.
He is provocative, a sharp.
Yeah, he's very provocative, and they make fun of things a lot. And I think sometimes, occasionally, I'm listening. Well, I don't have a choice. Like I said, he listens to it out loud through the house.
Uh-huh.
So there are sometimes I'm like, what did they say? What are they talking about? But it's pretty entertaining.
Okay. Well, so what I'll do, and I'm gonna always try to remember to ask my guests that question, and then I'll put a link to that podcast in the episode notes.
Your favorite podcast, yeah. Those are,
Yeah.
it's a good
Or
one.
whatever you're listening to. It doesn't have to be your favorite. I go through phases, but like I said, I've been listening to this Buzzcast is what it's called, and
Okay.
it's really good it's put out through Buzzsprout, which is who I do my
Okay. Podcast with.
podcast with.
Buzzcast.
They don't just talk about, one of the things I like is they don't just talk about what they do. They do talk about what they do, but they also talk about what resources are out there. They talk about like, sound setups. If you're making a sound studio, they kind of jump all over the place, but, and they're kind of fun. It's not, they're not stoic or anything like that. So it's kind of fun to listen to. And I pick up a lot of new ideas. So that's what I've been listening to because I want to make my podcast better.
Let me put that down because I'm like, that sounds like something I would listen to. They're giving like new ideas and stuff. How we support each other.
And they do have a free subscription. And it has to do with how much time. Buzzsprout, yeah.
Oh, Buzzsprout. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that you in your episodes you do a commercial for Anchor.
Yeah, so that's who I host is with Anchor as well.
So do you get money for doing that?
Well, nowhere near close to the money that they would pay, but yeah, because you need to get your listeners up. It's more like a long-term goal, but yes, they will pay you for the advertisement that you show based on the listeners. So they give you, it's about $1 for every 100 listeners. So every 100 listeners, they give you $1.
Well, that's not bad. I think
and then
you could get that.
And it's $1 each. I believe it's like the $1 for each ad that plays in each episode. So how I'm envisioning as my listeners grow and my episodes grow, and then you have ads then. And they'll also send like other ads your way too as you grow, so you won't get just stuck marketing Anchor. So I do like Anchor. It's a really great place to host your stuff, and then they also help you with other things as well.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I was on another one before, and then I switched to Anchor. So I think the other one was like
you're happy.
Yeah.
A lot of people are using Anchor. I see that.
Yeah, it's really great, and it's very easy. You can edit through their site as well if you want to. So they provide that you can. It's very user friendly, so you can edit your sound on the actual computer or through your phone. Let's say you just running late and you want to just be on your phone editing the audio. You can do all of that from the Anchor.
Wow, that's
you just
good.
download the app on your phone.
You can do it on the fly. That is good. Huh.
It's very helpful because there are times that I'm editing like something real quick and I don't want to get up and get on the computer, so I do it through my phone.
Right.
So it's good.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I am so glad to meet you. I hope that we can continue to, interact with each other, whether
Yes,
it's
yes,
online or whatever. But, you know,
yes.
I want to start supporting more people who are doing the same thing. I think that we can, much like Madam C.J. Walker did,
Yes, we can
us
do
newer
that.
podcasters, we should help each other. That's what I like
Mhm.
about the groups.
It's like bring up women together. So I
Right,
like that. But
right.
thank you, Anne, for having me. This is great. It's
Thank
great.
you for being here. Let me try that again. Thank you for being here. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
There you have it. Anik Gee, host of The Chillary and author of 2 children's books. Check out our episode notes to find out where you can find her podcast, and her books. Also, I want to tell you that it was, in fact, Booker T. Washington, the character in the Netflix series Self-Made, who basically refused to endorse Madam C.J. Walker. Definitely check out the Netflix series Self-Made and do some research to find out more about the life of Madam C.J. Walker. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week.